What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the overseas exclusive 2020 Revolt. Stay tuned after the intro. Alright, so before we get started in the video, I just want to share two very exciting announcements. Number one is that Turbo has offered me a contract to be on their staff, and I have accepted. This is an amazing opportunity for me. I have been using the Turbo grips for a very long time, and now to be part of their staff is an unbelievable opportunity. So if you haven't ever tried the Turbo grips or the Switch grip, I would highly suggest that you guys check them out. And then the second announcement is that I have joined the national staff for I Am Bowling. If you don't know what I Am Bowling is the bowling division of Logo Infusion. So if you go to iambowling.com, you can still use my promo code of Lewis to get you 20% off. And then my promo code also still works at Logo Infusion. Okay, so what is the 2020 Revolt? Well, the year 2020 was pretty bad year overall, but this 2020 Revolt is actually pretty good. The 2020 Revolt features the Vanquish core, which has an RG of 2.47, which is very low, and a max differential of 0.056, which is very high. So what that means for the 2020 Revolt is that it wants to get into a roll very early because of that very low RG, and then with the differential being 0.056, it's going to produce a lot of flare. And as we know, more flare means more hook potential. And this 2020 Revolt has the highest differential of any ball that I have reviewed on this channel. Wrapped around that Vanquish core is the Coercion high friction solid cover, which comes out of box at a 3500 laser scan sand. And this ball does not have a lot of surface right out of the box. If you guys like this video and you like the content that I'm creating, I would super appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date every time I drop a new video. And if you like this jersey or any of the jerseys in any of my videos, you can head on over to logoinfusion.com or iambowling.com and use my promo code Lewis, and that'll get you 20% off your entire order. And then down below in the description, I have links to everything that I used to make this video, from the camera to the bowling balls and the chamois on the lanes, unfortunately except for the 2020 Revolt because it is an overseas exclusive ball. This 2020 Revolt on paper is a monster. They took 2 out of my 3 favorite solid bowling balls of all time and put them together. It has the core of the Cobra Revolt and then the cover of the Jackal Ghost. For me, this ball reminds me a lot of a stronger, more upgraded version of the Covert Revolt. Now, the Cobra Revolt is one of my favorite solids of all time. It's still a ball that I throw from time to time, especially at tournaments, but the cover technology of that time just isn't what it is now. So they took that same core and wrapped it with a more upgraded solid cover, and it is a match made in heaven. Again, this is another one of those balls that I really wish was a stateside release, because if this ball was a stateside release, it would be wildly popular. Let me know down below in the comments if you have ever thrown this 2020 Revolt or any of the other Revolts and what you think about them. I'm going to take you guys out on the lanes now so you can see this 2020 Revolt in action. Thank you guys for joining me for this in-depth review of the overseas exclusive 2020 Revolt. Now, as always, I'm going to show you every single shot that I threw in this session, the good shots and the bad. I believe that this is the only way to truly show you what a ball is really capable of, is by showing you the good shots and the bad, the shots that strike as well as the shots that do not. Now, this is one of those rare overseas balls where I just thought I absolutely needed to have Revolt core, Jackal Ghost cover. To me, it's easy math on paper, and on the lanes, it is easy math. I've always said that the Covert Revolt is one of my favorite bowling balls of all time, but the cover, especially on today's conditions, struggles to handle the volumes of oil and to produce any significant shape down lane. Well, this 2020 Revolt is basically a Covert Revolt for today's conditions. Even though the core has a very low RG and a very high differential, it gets through the fronts really nicely and produces a very nice down lane motion. I forgot to mention it in the intro, but the layout on this 2020 Revolt is the same layout that I put on my Raptor. It is 40 by 4.5 by 20. I was seriously blown away with how good this ball rolled for me. I think back on the Rogue Assassin, which had the same cover, the Coercion high friction solid, but it had the Sigma core, and that ball just didn't roll very well for me. That leads me to believe that this cover needs a bigger core like it is on the 2020 Revolt and like it is on the Jackal Ghost. Now, I'm not saying that the Rogue Assassin was a bad ball, I just didn't really match up with it. It tended to be a little bit too early and almost nothing down lane, which is a little weird because the Rogue Assassin and the 2020 Revolt both have the same RG, but the differential is wildly different. When I reviewed the Raptor Altitude, which is another overseas ball, I had a couple people message me and tell me that I'm wasting my time reviewing these overseas balls because they're not available in the US market. Well, to those people, I just want to say that when I reviewed the Raptor Altitude and now reviewing the 2020 Revolt, this is strictly for entertainment purposes. I obviously know that not everyone in the US market is going to have access to these bowling balls because they can be quite expensive. I know for a fact that there's people watching these videos that are not in the US market that will appreciate me making these overseas balls. And then me personally, I thoroughly enjoy making these reviews. I don't care where the bowling ball was made. So like I said in the Raptor Altitude video, I have a very hard time suggesting this ball to anyone just because it can be very, very expensive. So when I think about this 2020 Revolt, I think the closest ball in our current line that matches it would be the Jackal Legacy. Now, it's going to be a smaller version than the Jackal Legacy, but it's still going to be the closest one. It gets through the fronts very similarly to the Jackal Legacy while producing a very similar down lane motion, but both of these bowling balls are going to handle the higher volumes of oil extremely well. I do see a lot of similarities on lane to the Jackal Ghost, but I really do think that the closest one would be the Jackal Legacy. Because I was always in the lower rev rate spectrum, I have always matched up extremely well to these bigger bowling balls that have higher differentials and usually lower RGs. This ball hasn't had a ton of lane time with me just because I just got the Jackal Legacy and then all my time has been going towards that Jackal Legacy. But when I initially reviewed this ball, it rolled amazing for me. And then a couple days ago in the live stream, I threw mostly the 2020 Revolt and it rolled amazing. So I'm really looking forward to putting this ball into my arsenal and seeing how much better it can be on different patterns as well. Now, as we near an end to this video, let me know down below in the comments if you want me to continue reviewing some of these overseas balls, and then let me know what balls you would like to see compared to this 2020 Revolt. To be fair though, this ball was always going to be good. Revolt Core, Jackal Ghost cover, we need this in the US market. Well, there you have it, folks. There's my in-depth review of the overseas 2020 Revolt. Let me know down below in the comments if you like this video, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Click right here to watch one of my other videos. Click right here to subscribe. Till next time, guys.